Dumbledore sees Grindelwald, you know, the person he loves, the person he desires the most, or he sees the will to take down Grindelwald, because it's something that he doesn't have. And of course, that's the reason that he says that Newt is the one who has to do it, who has to take down Grindelwald, because essentially Dumbledore is not man enough to do it himself, because he needs to decide between what's right and what is Whoa. Because we're beautiful. Future. Forever. My regular niffler. Hello beautiful people, how's it going? I'm back with another video, and today we're going to be doing something that has been highly requested on the channel the past couple of days. We're going to be analyzing and fully dissecting the Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald trailer. I was actually planning on doing this back home, but since it was highly requested, I decided that now would be the best time to do it, and I'm here in the UK, so apologies for my pretty normal looking background, because obviously I'm almost sure you guys are used to my Harry Potter collection, which is something that I greatly miss, but you know, we're gonna have to put up with it. So anyways, what I'm planning on doing is I'm going to be going shot by shot through the entire trailer and trying to figure out, along with you guys, what's going on, because I'm pretty sure I have a really good idea of it. So without further ado, let's begin. It's Hogwarts, of course, but obviously we've seen this before in the previous trailer, so I wasn't really surprised. But then of course they're doing the ridiculous charm. Now, obviously, as you can see, Dumbledore is teaching Defense Against the Dark Arts, and this was a bit of a controversy that stirred up in the Harry Potter community, which I, to be honest, was not really bothered by. I mean, I think if Jo wanted to change canon just a little bit so it could fit with the story, she definitely has a good enough reason, and I believe that. And of course here we get to see Newt with, I think, Leta Lestrange behind him, because essentially she just looks like her, and we know that there are going to be a lot of flashbacks between Newt and Leta in this movie. I think this is Jo's way of just kind of delving into Newt's character more, and obviously the fact that he fears having to work in an office just goes with the whole idea of him being a magizoologist. And by the way, this Wizarding World logo is just something I appreciate so much. But we've talked about that before, and I'll leave some links for other videos in which I've talked about the Harry Potter whole rebranding situation going on. Of course, this was a shot that we saw in the first trailer, but I noticed something new to it, because I think this shot lasts a bit longer. You can actually see the statue that's moving kind of like pulling something, like pulling her skirt. I don't know, like if that's like to reveal something, I don't know. And obviously now we know where this is. This is definitely in Paris, because you can see like some chairs in the background of that. I'm not sure. This is actually one of my favorite shots in the whole entire trailer. You can see the Maledictus, who by the way is still unnamed, and you guys know my theory on that, walking towards the audience. And of course David Yates, brilliant director, just knocks it out of the park with giving you these dark shots that kind of show you what's going on but also don't, leaving like an aspect of mystery. Whoever is editing this trailer must have had a brilliant time with a lot of great shots to choose from, because there have been so many. And here you see more circus work, and that just looks phenomenal. And Credence joining the circus, which is really interesting. Now here, that looks a bit like a port key, because when Dumbledore jumps out of the bus, he just holds onto it and they immediately disapparate, and there's a lot of disapparating stuff going on. And of course there's the Deluminator once more, which again we saw in the first trailer. And Grindelwald is being taken, right? He's literally being like he's being flown in the air in some sort of curse, which I believe we saw in the Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, when Voldemort had Mrs. Charity Burbage like on top of the dining table and was dragging her over. So that's an interesting twist, how this time it's the authorities using it on the bad guy. You guys know how I feel about Johnny Depp as Grindelwald, and of course, you know, as everyone was a bit skeptical at first, but seeing this and seeing Johnny Depp as Grindelwald, you know, kind of preaching to all of these dark wizards and probably dark families in the wizarding world, he's very convincing. And In terms of where this is located, I'm pretty sure it's in Paris, and who knows, this actually might be a really, really famous artifact. And I'm just not good at identifying them. However, this place pops up a lot in the trailers, and right next to Grindelwald, you can see Vinda Rosier, who, you know, we know Rosier is a dark family name. The Rosiers were aligned with Voldemort in the later Harry Potter books and movies, and so I'm very, 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 very excited to see her. And you do get to see her a bit more in this trailer. There's Queenie just having a vision or just freaking out, which, by the way, is something I need to get down to the bottom of. I did make a video on Queenie possibly joining the dark side, and so that's something that I really want you guys to watch out for. And of course, that is, I think some sort of magical creature, not an Obscurus. I did have a friend who thought that this was an Obscurial, and it was like covering all of Paris, but no, that's not the case. I know for a fact that Credence's Obscurial still looks like the way it did in the first movie, and so I'm pretty sure that's not an Obscurus. Here we have Grindelwald seeing a vision of Credence. I wasn't sure it was Credence at first, but when you look back, you can actually make out that it is definitely his face. And by the way, Grindelwald looks very menacing with that one eye thing. There's Abernathy, and here's the weird part. I didn't think that Abernathy was going to have an important role at all, but of course, there goes J.K. Rowling again, putting in hints from previous movies. He had a very minor role, and I think, based on one of the later scenes in the trailer, he is going to be helping Grindelwald escape from MACUSA. And of course, there's Vinda Rosier, and now, Credence and the Maledictus looking very mysterious. Very, very, very mysterious. Now, this was one of the shots that I didn't necessarily agree with because the CGI looks horrible on these black cats, and I don't know if that's even the name for them. But of course, this is in the Paris Ministry of Magic, which is something I'm very excited about. But I do hope they fix up the CGI on these cats because it's just. And of course, this is Newt apparating towards Dumbledore by a portkey, which is a glove, I assume. And this is a shot that everyone's been talking about. So it turns out that when Dumbledore looks into the Mirror of Erised, it's not him seeing himself in a pair of comfy socks. Like he said in the Philosopher's Stone, he sees Grindelwald, or at least that's what he sees at this time of his life. And what's really interesting is you can take this in two different ways. You can either say that Dumbledore sees Grindelwald, you know, the person he loves, the person he desires the most, or he sees the will to take down Grindelwald, because it's something that he doesn't have. And of course, that's the reason that he says that Newt is the one who has to do it, who has to take down Grindelwald, because essentially Dumbledore is not man enough to do it himself, because he needs to decide between what's right and what is he has to decide between what is right and what is easy, which is something he said in the Goblet of Fire. You know, it would be very interesting to see that kind of correlation between Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts. Because essentially, Fantastic Beasts is you seeing Dumbledore become the man that he is. And this is one of the struggles that he had to go through. And he hands Newt some sort of card. I don't know what that is. And I'm assuming that it might be something linked to finding Nicholas Flamel. Because Dumbledore and Flamel worked very close together. And we know that he's in this movie, you know. And it's proof at the end of it. And of course, there's Lita Lestrange, another character that I'm so unbelievably excited to see in this movie. And she's watching someone dance. And I'm not sure. Some people are saying that it could be her mother, which is something I wouldn't be surprised about. And I'm wondering if she's at some sort of wedding, because we know her and Theseus Scamander, Newt's brother, are engaged. And of course, there was a lot of drama between Newt and Lita when they were younger, because Newt had feelings for her, and Zoe Kravitz said in an interview that it was definitely one-sided, so that's a bit unfortunate. And there's Newt with a French Quidditch shop behind him, which I think is very interesting, as he unleashes the Niffler, which is, I think, could be a distraction. I don't know what for, though, because obviously, in the first movie, he didn't want to release the Niffler, and as I am Nasser the Niffler. It's very nice to see that people like me are getting representation in the Harry Potter world.
Make your turns, Mr. Scamander.
Oh, and there is, this shot in particular, is Newt riding a Kelpie. I don't know if this was Newt when he was younger. It does look like the younger actor. And there's another character who they don't show in the trailer at all, but I know from research that this is Bunty. She doesn't have any screen time, and she's shown to be Newt's assistant. I'm not sure whether this is Newt now or Newt before, and we're gonna have to see, but I mean, he looks like the younger actor. There's Jacob walking through, I don't know what that is, but that looks freaky, and it looks underground, and I'm super, super, super excited. Jacob got a lot of screen time in the first trailer, but not in this one, so I do kind of miss him. And of course, this is, I'm assuming, Grindelwald's dark forces walking around in this graveyard. A couple of months ago, we saw that they were filming at this graveyard in London, and so we assumed that a huge fight scene was going to happen, and I'm pretty sure that this is the final battle in the movie. Of course, there's Credence controlling the Obscurious once more, but this time, the Obscurial has detached itself from Credence. So now it's like it's two different forces. So the Obscurial can go off while Credence is still standing, and that just shows you how powerful he's become. And of course, there are all of these, you know, dark wizards just apparating now out of this huge Colosseum. I don't know that Grindelwald is preaching from. And of course, I think that might be, I don't know what beast that is. There were a couple of websites online that did talk about what the possibilities were. This is very interesting. This is Lita Lestrange escaping from something, I'm assuming probably the Black Cats, with Newt and Tina. And they're going through all of these safes, and this is, I guess, how the Paris Ministry of Magic protects, you know, its private stuff. And what I think is interesting is that this was one of the first promotional images released from the movie of Newt and Tina, and they look very worried. Also, I'm pretty sure they're trying to find something out of one of the safes with Nicholas Flamel's initials on it, so could that be the Philosopher's Stone? And if so, why would they need to get that? That's very interesting. And this is one of my favorite shots, another one of my favorite shots in the whole trailer, where essentially you have this giant, like, blue dragon, which could be Fiendfire, as it was in Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, which I noticed. And Jacob looks like he's ready to die, while the badass of all badasses, Tina, jumps over to save him, which is great, considering that she didn't care about him at all in the first movie, which is great. And immediately after, you get this shot, which reinforces the idea that I was putting forward, that Queenie might be joining the dark side. This shot, however, shows us that she might not be doing it willingly. Queenie looks like she's under immense pressure, but in this, like, we know that Grindelwald is a seer, and we know that he is very powerful, and so maybe he is threatening her with Jacob. Because you can actually see that she's wearing a ring in this trailer, right in that shot, actually. So who knows? Maybe they're engaged, which is something I would love, by the way. And there's 4 characters. I know for a fact there's Theseus, Newt, and Tina. I don't know who the 4th guy is, but they are fighting this creature. Now, a lot of people thought that this creature was an Oni from the Wizard Circus, but it's not. It's definitely not. It has another name, and I can't remember it right now, but it's not the Oni from the circus. But whatever it is, I am super, super duper excited.
You never met a monster you couldn't love.
Now, you never met a monster you couldn't love. This is definitely my favorite line from the whole entire trailer, even though Grindelwald's lines are fantastic. See what I did there? This really shows the depth of the relationships that are going to be portrayed in these movies. At the end of the day, the whole entire wizarding world is based on love and relationships and stuff like that. And so having these new relationships kind of come into the story and having representation of unrequited love and just a bunch of different things is very interesting. And it's something that I'm very excited to see more in the Fantastic Beasts series. this is Credence in the same room that Grindelwald was. So I think it's very, very interesting that I think Grindelwald is actually out to get Credence, and the whole plot would be them protecting him, or maybe him getting tempted, but who knows? I literally cannot figure out what Credence is doing in this movie, apart from the fact that he does join the circus, as we've known previously. But Credence goes insane on this guy and, like, blows up a building, while Grindelwald escapes in the beginning of the movie with the Elder Wand. That's insane.
Do you think Dumbledore will mourn for you?
Now, this final battle where Grindelwald says, "Do you think Dumbledore will mourn for you?" You can actually see Vinda Rosier with a skull that's lit up, and in the actual in the trailer for this trailer, they released a trailer for this trailer on the night before his Love Island episode, which I thought was very hilarious. You can see that the skull actually says "for the greater good" in German, which is actually a quote that Dumbledore made to Grindelwald when they were discussing how they were going to take over the world and destroy all Muggles. And essentially that was when they were kids, so you could see that that has stuck, and that's become Grindelwald's whole idea. And of course, Grindelwald here looks very menacing with this blue fiend fire, which I assume is the same one, at this graveyard. So actually, I think that this graveyard and the whole Colosseum thing is set in Paris. I know for a fact that it was shot in London, though. Or at least I assume. Maybe the top part, which is the actual graveyard, was shot in London, and then this underground thing was, created in Leavesden. However, in terms of the story, I do know that this probably is going to be the final showdown at the end of the movie. Because Newt's there, he's there, this guy, Vinda Rosier is there, Theseus Scamander is there. It looks intense. And of course, there's the Deathly Hallows symbol, so we know that the Deathly Hallows is going to be very prominent in the movie. And here, this is very interesting. I'm not sure how I felt about this the first time I saw it. Basically, this is how they've made Nicolas Flamel look in the movie. Right. How I feel about this is, I'm very excited to see Nicolas Flamel, but I just don't understand how they've made him very, you know what I mean? As an alchemist, as a huge deal in the Harry Potter world, I just thought he would be more serious and less comedic, and I hope that his character isn't as comedic as they paint him to be in this trailer. I mean, I hope that his plot is really, really important and riveting. But other than that,
Jacob Qualls. Oh, you don't look a day over 375.
That's where the trailer ends, and I will say it is very, very, very exciting. I mean, that's all I can say about it. This trailer has honestly taken everything I've been excited about Fantastic Beasts and just elevated it so much, because really, the whole idea of this trailer is to show you how rich the world is and how deep the story is going to get as far as the story goes and as far as the plot continues throughout the 5 movies. The first movie was very dark, and seeing this and seeing how much darker it gets, it just baffles me and just shows me that really throughout these 5 movies we're going to be doing so much and getting into so much new content, which is very, very exciting. And obviously it's going to get darker and darker and more adult, which is really good for me, which really excites me also. Anyways, that was my video on my whole entire Fantastic Beasts trailer breakdown. Obviously, I will be making a lot more video on these. Obviously, I will be making a lot more videos on this trailer and the movie in general, as I have been doing the past year. If you're new, subscribe to my channel, because all I do is talk about Harry Potter and Fantastic Beasts. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please leave me a like and a comment down below, and subscribe to my channel to see a lot more Harry Potter content. Bye, guys!